I hate when YouTubers do long intros because you read the title to this video, you know what it's about, so let's get right into it. Stop the video. Listen, I didn't lie about hating long intros. I really do. But I still had to come here and tell y'all to subscribe. It's absolutely free. And my goal is to hit 5K subs by the start of next season. I'm about 900 away right now. So it would really help if y'all push the button. And I'll do something special if I hit 5K before October next year. So let me know what y'all want to see. You want to see a giveaway? You want to see me release my unreleased rap that I've had for a while? Let me know down in the comments below. And I greatly appreciate y'all. Leave a like too. Bye. This one is from our guy, Andy Bailey, and I didn't read it yet, but I saw it has some names that kind of have to do with the Heat, so I figured it'd be a good video to react to it. So the first one he has here is Brandon Ingram going to the Sacramento Kings. Now, off rip, seems like a great fit, right? Fits the timeline age-wise with Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox. I guess they could use a starting three, right? Maybe slide Keegan Murray down to the 4, and they could use some more scoring, right? So just off rip, without seeing the package, makes sense, right? But they have Brandon Ingram going to the Kings for Harrison Barnes, Kevin Huerter, and just 1 first-round pick. Is that all that Brandon Ingram's value is right now? Because obviously as a Heat fan, he's a guy whose name we've heard quite a bit. And same thing fit-wise, fits kind of the Bam timeline, but also the win-now timeline. Could play the 3, add scoring and shooting, which is obviously something that we need. And eventually, I will make sort of a trade package, for Ingram video. But I would have guessed his value was a lot higher than this. Off rip from a Heat perspective, I'm thinking Tyler and a couple first, maybe. And that's obviously 1 more first in this. And I think Tyler Hero at this point is a better asset than Harrison Barnes and Kevin Huerter. Those are both 2 decent players. But, Kevin Huerter is what? A spot-up shooter. And Harrison Barnes is a guy that's, pushing 30. He's on the wrong side of 30. If the Kings could pull this trade off, this would be masterful for them. What is his reasoning here for why the hell the Pelicans will do this? They just point to the reports of Pelicans aggressively looking to explore an Ingram trade. I think the main reason is they don't believe the Zion pairing, which on paper, it seems like it should work, right? Zion's the great, brute force inside. Ingram is sort of the spacer. I don't really know why it hasn't worked. Truthfully, I don't know. I know the numbers aren't great with those 2 on the court, but maybe the issue with them not winning a lot isn't related to those 2 guys. Maybe it's related to the bench or the depth. Now, I think the Pelicans have some depth, right? You talk about Trey Murphy Jr.'s really come onto the scene. Maybe that's why they want to trade Ingram, but I think you could play Trey Murphy and Ingram together. But anyways, they got Herb Jones, Jose Alvarado. I like Valanciunas. I know he doesn't get a lot of playing time because I guess a little bit of a slow-footed, back-to-the-basket, old-school big, but they got some pieces on that team. Obviously, CJ McCollum as well. So why they can't win, I don't know. But apparently, they think the issue is Brandon Ingram, I guess. It says for New Orleans, this deal is a bet on Williamson, who missed the playoffs, but he was pretty much healthy last year. Yeah, but why can't you build around Zion with Brandon Ingram? I don't know. I don't really get it here. But overall for the Kings, this is an easy dub. And for the Pelicans, I'd have to think there's more value out there, right? I don't know. Let me know what you think down below. Jimmy Butler to the Spurs. Here I was thinking they would say a contender, right? Maybe, I don't know, Denver, Philadelphia, a lot of these other teams we've been hearing like that. But the Spurs, are they that urgent to build around Wemby? Do they? I just got a text. Is it Donovan Mitchell to the Heat? No, it's not. So I don't care because we are spider watch for a while. I'm trying not to spam the Donovan Mitchell rumor videos because we did the same thing last year with Dame and it was fun, but there's a lot of other channels doing that this year with Spider, and I'm trying to stay different over here. That's why I dropped the draft series. I really hope y'all enjoyed that, and that's why I have a lot of other ideas coming out. We dropped the Mikal Bridges video yesterday. Make sure y'all check that out. But yeah, the Spurs. Let's see why the Spurs would be interested, I guess. Maybe they are eager to build around Wembanyama. They say Jimmy Butler 4, Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sohan, Zach Collins, and 1, 2, 3 first. 3 first. Is that what that is? A 2024 first from Toronto, 27 first, and a 29 first. Okay, so 3 first-round picks. If you can get 3 first for Jimmy, I don't necessarily think that's a bad deal. And in addition, you are getting I think Zach Collins is fine also, but Jeremy Sohan and Keldon Johnson at their age are more of the assets at this point, I would think. This is interesting just because I know there's been a lot of talk about Jimmy to Philly. I'm actually working on another video for that, but it's a lot more editing and research, and I don't really have the time for that right now. But I'll have it out to y'all soon. But part of that research I saw was like a mock trade that said Jimmy to Philly for just 3 first-round picks, because Philly has a ton of cap space, so they could sort of absorb Jimmy Butler without having to send assets in return. I like the idea of getting 3 picks for Jimmy. If we had to trade Jimmy, my stance is I don't want to trade him. I don't want to pay him either right now. I'd rather wait a season and pay him. But if he doesn't like that idea, fine, give him his money. I'd rather him stay and you overpay him than he leaves, because I still think he has at least a year left in him of, superstar caliber, and I want to go all in next season. But anyways, this trade relative to that Philly trade is better because you still get the 3 first-round picks, but you're also getting 2 pieces that I like a lot. At least one piece, I guess. Keldon Johnson, I'm a big fan of. Great sort of 3-and-D player. Has shown an ability to even be more than just, a 3-point shooter. He can really score from everywhere. Over 20 point per game score, I believe, at least for one season. Jeremy Sohan, I don't love him as a player just because he's not really a great shooter, and I'm kind of tired of relying on guys that just can't really stretch the floor at all. We're even seeing Bam and Jimmy Butler start to extend their game. Am I really like sleeping on Jeremy Sohan's ability? Because I just remember he's a very bad free throw shooter. I'm gonna check the stats right here, and yeah, from the free throw line, he was 77% from the free throw line this year. That's not bad. And he was 30% from 3, almost 31% on 3 attempts. But the year before that, he was pretty terrible from the 3-point line, 25%. So he's not exactly a guy that is a spacer right now, but he's not a Ben Simmons that's not shooting any 3. So maybe I'm not as high on Jeremy Sohan as I should be. But again, he's not an asset because of his spacing. Obviously, he's a guy that can handle the ball for his size. What is he, like 6'9"? And he's also a guy that can attack the paint and finish in there. I know they tried playing. This says 6'8". I know they tried playing him at point guard a little bit. He's not a point guard, but at the very least, he can handle the rock. And if you give Spoelstra a guy like that, I'm not saying Pop isn't a great coach. Obviously, Pop is too, but Sohan is still young. Even his age here is what? He's 21 years old. You give a guy who has some size, has some tools already, put him in this Heat development system, I think he could actually be a pretty decent player, one day. But I'm not super high on him right now. And Zach Collins will provide some size. But again, if you make this trade, if you're the Miami Heat, you're not trying to compete right now anyways, unless you flip those 3 first-round picks for Donovan Mitchell, which is where a Jimmy Butler sort of trade becomes interesting, because the only way I'd really be happy moving Jimmy is if you were able to flip those assets for Donovan Mitchell. I was going to say, or another star, but the only one available really that would make me happy is Donovan Mitchell. I do like Trae Young, but only if you have Jimmy Butler. I don't think Trey and Bam are winning anything on their own, but do I think Donovan Mitchell and Bam, with a supporting cast? I think so. I am that high on Donovan Mitchell. I really am. I guess from the Spurs perspective here, we talked a lot about their urgency to build around Wemby. I do think teams should be more urgent when trying to build around their young star, because nowadays we're seeing guys get disgruntled very young and asking out very early. So the sooner that you can at least show them that you're trying to build around them, I do think that goes a long way. But I don't think the fit with Jimmy Butler is necessarily great there. Ideally, you'd want a guy who's a little bit younger, maybe more like a Trae Young. So a guy that's not, 22, 23 like Anthony Edwards, but he still is, not over 30. So you can win with him now, but you do have an extended period of time, because this Spurs team, okay, you got Jimmy and Wemby, and what else? You probably don't have enough to win a ring. So really, what's the point of having Jimmy? Jimmy's maybe great for another 2 seasons. And now what? You're stuck because you paid him a huge extension for another year. I don't love the fit for the Spurs, but at the very least, I guess it would show them that, like I said, they're actually active in building around Wemby, and they're not content with being a bad team. What is the reasoning? It says here, talks about the Heat can retool with draft picks, obviously. Talks about Wemby might be simply too good to tank. So I guess that's the reasoning. They don't want to tank, and they don't want to be mediocre. So I think Jimmy would at least be good enough to help them be a top 5 seed in the West. Maybe. I don't know. The West is so tough. Like, that's what I'm saying is Jimmy and Wemby and whoever else to cast this, is that good enough to make the Spurs a top 5 seed? I don't know. Now, this article also talks about how good Wemby is with Trey Jones, and Jimmy is a phenomenal passer. But then again, you don't really see Jimmy and Bam connect all that much. We saw it more this season, so I don't know how much Jimmy and Wemby could form a connection. But from the Heat perspective, if they had to absolutely trade Jimmy, again, if they had to, I don't want to, but if they had to, it's not a bad package. Getting 3 first-round picks for a guy who's going to command a lot of money up until he's like 37 years old, this is not too bad a package. The next one they have here, we talked about Trae Young because I'm certainly interested in him as a Heat fan. They have him going to the Orlando Magic. That team needs guards, and they could use someone to help set up Franz and Paolo. Love the fit immediately, but they have the package being Cole Anthony, Anthony Black, Jett Howard, and two first-round picks, just 2 picks and a swap. If you're the Hawks, I guess the 2 first-round picks is nice. I guess swaps I find invalid because you don't know how good a team is going to be when the year comes. Those are irrelevant to me. For the Hawks' perspective, though, this really just depends on how much you think Cole Anthony and Anthony Black are. Jett Howard, he's really just a 3-point shooter. Shout out to him. Juwan Howard's son, and Juwan's my guy, but really hasn't done too much. Had a sort of a better second half of the season in the G League, but really hasn't shown the potential off rip that the Magic hoped for. Same goes for Anthony Black and Cole Anthony for that matter. I mean, he was playing, 20 minutes a night for the Magic. Really didn't have a substantial role there. So while I think Anthony Black does have a lot of potential, I'm not super high on the other 2 guys. So if the Hawks do decide, the Hawks should trade either him or DeJounte, because what they've been doing doesn't work. Missing the playoffs. You can't keep retooling when you miss the playoffs. You got to blow it up, after consecutive years of that. So they got to trade one of the 2. If they decide to trade Trae Young, I think they can get a better package than this. From the Heat perspective, I said it. I would trade Tyler and Jaime and maybe 2 picks. I really would. I think Trae Young is that good. He has led a top 10 offense like every year for the last 4 years. And this Heat team just scored under 90 points for the last 3 games in the playoffs. I know they were not healthy, but they're never healthy. That's why I don't like using the health as an excuse. I'd like Trae Young, and I think a package of Hero, Jaime, and 2 picks is better than this. I mean, Hero's more proven than all these guys. Right now, Jaime Jaquez is already better than both these guys, and they could still get the 2 first-round picks. So I do think the Hawks can get a little bit better. But from the Magic perspective, this is a dub. That team took the Cavs to 7 games in round 1. Franz is only going to continue to get better. Same with Paolo, who it looks like he's on the birth of superstardom. And you don't want to waste those guys' young, cheap contracts either. Get a guy like Trae Young. See if you can win a playoff series or 2 in this, lowly East. And then you go ahead and build off of that, especially for the team like the Magic. You're not going to get a lot of free agents. You got to draft well and trade well. I do think this will be a nice start because I think Trae Young is severely underrated. That team already has great defenders at the bigs, even with Jonathan Isaac, who we didn't mention. They're keeping Jalen Suggs, who's one of the best perimeter defenders. That would be a great fit next to Trae Young. So overall, I think that's a nice dub. Oh, there's one more trade here. I didn't even realize that. Already talking for 13 minutes. We got one more. Donovan Mitchell to the Nets. Oh, and it pains me to say, because that's who I want. But let's see what they got for the packages here. They got Cam Johnson, DFS, Cam Thomas, and 1, 2, 3 first-round picks. If you are the Brooklyn Nets, I've been saying this for a while. Certainly, they scare me as a Heat fan because they have the assets. But again, if you're the Nets, why would you do this? You got Cam. You got Mikal Bridges, Donovan Mitchell, and what else? That team would suck. They might sneak into the playoffs as a playing team. Now what? I don't think that's a core you could build around because even this is not like the Magic I was just talking about. Paolo is 22 years old. I mean, Mikal Bridges is turning 28 by the time the season starts. This is a team that should either fully rebuild or go, all in. And they'd have to make more moves than this. And once they trade all these assets, 3 first-round picks, and Cam Thomas, Cam Johnson, that he's someone they got from the KD trade. This is almost a lot of their assets, Not all of them, but it's a lot of them. And you're getting it on Donovan Mitchell to be a mediocre team in the East. I don't love it from the Nets' perspective. And again, if you're the Cavs, Cam Johnson is fine. He's a shooter. He's a bit older. Finney-Smith, his three-point percentage has dropped a ton since a couple years back. Undersized. Cam Thomas scores 40 points on 40 shots, and you get 3 first-round picks. That's not better than the Heat package. It's not. Tyler Hero, more proven than all these guys. Jaime Jaquez, better than all these guys right now. Nikola Jovic, more potential than all these guys. And we could get the 3 first-round picks too, including number 15 in this draft. So I don't think I'm sounding biased here. If you're not a Heat fan, let me know down below. But the Heat have a better package than this. And it's funny because last offseason, all the talk was about how bad the Heat's assets were. But this season, it seems like the script is flipped. Maybe people still aren't as high on Tyler Hero, but they're a lot more higher on Nikola Jovic and Jaime Jaquez. And it does seem like a lot of other rival front offices are interested in those guys as well. But anyways, let me know what y'all think down below. And make sure to subscribe because I'm like 900 away from 5K. And I want to get to 5K before the season starts. And I can't do it without y'all help. So like the video, comment. I'll be reading all the comments. And I'll see y'all next time. So peace out.
Look, pull up in your city tryna get that dead face. Do it on my own, I don't need no dead weight. Had to kill him off, yeah, I need a head space. You know this homegrown bitch don't offend me.